So today, guys, we are going to be talking about translating expressions. We are not solving expressions at all. We are literally taking them from word form and writing them in algebra form. That's all we are doing. Okay? So in order to do that, we need to know phrases or words that mean add, subtract, multiply, or divide. So what are some words that you already know that mean if you see this word in a word problem or something, it means to add? That's okay. Some. More. Let's keep going. Brayden.
More than.
More than. More. What's more, guys? I need more. There's more. Leah. Perfect. I'm going to just write increased by. Just because you'll see that phrase more.
All together.
All together. What else? Say that again. Plus. Yes, I'm just not going to write that one down. But yes, if you would see that, that would mean to add. In all. Actually, I don't have that one down either. But that would mean that as well. Leah? Add. Very basic one, right, guys? I have one more. Which one am I missing? Oh, got one more that I'm missing.
Together?
Together. But, nope, it's not together. I already have that one. All together.
Oh.
What about total? Do you see that word total? So any of those words, if you see them, you know that they mean to add, right? Okay, what about subtraction? What are some subtraction words? Brady.
Take away.
Take away. Bennett.
Minus.
Minus. Isabel.
Subtract.
Subtract. I'm going to just write subtracted from, because we'll see that phrase more. Sophie. Decreased by. Bennett. Difference. One more. Claire? Less than. Perfect. All right, multiplication words. Campbell. Product. Brady. Multiplied by. Brayden.
Like double or twice.
Perfect. I'm going to write doubled / triple. Anytime they keep going up with those numbers. Double and triple.
Times by.
I'm just going to write times, but times by. Yes, twice. Abram? Yes, but we're not going to write that one down. But yes. Brayden?
The power of.
Okay, so not power of, but the word of is multiplication. So when we see that word, it means to multiply. So the last word that I have that I want you guys to write down is if you see the word per. Like I made $15 per hour. So every hour I will make $15. So if I work 5 hours, I would multiply 5 and 15 together because of that word per. Does that make sense? Gavin, question?
I got it as a emergency.
Okay, you have to fill out a pass. Division. What do I do? some words. Aubrey. Quotient. Campbell.
Divided by.
Divided by. Brayden.
I have a question.
Yes.
What would the word and? Would that be one?
No, but good question. Other words, guys. You need to go before my class next time. Bennett?
Does it involve like roots?
Okay, so think of more specifically. What do I do when I'm putting you guys in groups? I'm splitting you up, so split. Vince? Half. Which then means I could have a third, right? Half and third go together. I could also separate. Yeah, but you'd have to have that word divided there too, so we'll call it good. Alright, there's a good list, right guys? Okay, so then there's this thing called turnaround phrases. And it says to watch out for what operation? Subtraction. Typically, guys, when we write a phrase, we read it and we write it, right guys? You write it like you read it, correct? So if we look at this number 1, what's the first thing it says?
5.
So what do we write?
5.
You see a 5, you write a 5. Then what's it say?
More than.
And what do we know more than means?
Add.
So I'm going to put an add sign, a plus sign. Then what's it say? So if it says a number, we write. Do I care what variable you write? No, you can write any variable that you want. It is perfectly fine, whatever you write, and it will still be accepted, even if it's not the same variable I choose. Is that understood? Okay, now addition problems, can we write addition problems in any order? Because no matter what, 5 plus n is the exact same thing as n plus 5, isn't it? Yeah, because whatever 5 is, I'm going to get the same answer in the end, aren't I? Subtraction is not that way, is it? So the order matters with subtraction, unlike with addition, correct? There are 2 phrases. That means I need to reverse the order. Let's see if we can figure those phrases out. If we go down to number 4, what's the phrase in number 4? And decrease by means what? Okay, so I know I'm going to subtract in this problem. And it says what? What's the first phrase? A number. So it says a number decreased by what? So is that going to be a number minus 7? Or is that going to be 7 minus a number? So I'm going to write what? Variable minus 7. That one is very straightforward, right guys? Any questions on that? Yes.
So in addition, you can like write it anyway and subtraction
Correct. Because otherwise, if you were to like change the order, it changes your answer. Does that make sense? Morgan. Yes. Yep. Division, the order matters as well. But those with division, there's none that the way that it's worded makes you flip around the problem. Or subtraction, the way that it's worded, means we have to flip the problem around. You can't just read it and write it. So for instance, if we go to the orange page, you guys, we're going to flip back and forth a little here. If you just read, I don't want you to write anything down, but if you just read these problems off, find one that has a subtraction problem in it. What's the first one you see that has a subtraction problem? Which one do you see has a subtraction problem, everyone? Number 6. What's the phrase that it says? It says subtracted from, and we know that that is a minus sign, right, guys? Now, if we read this, what's the first thing that comes first? So 3 would come first because it's written first, right, guys? And then subtracted from, minus, and then what comes last? A variable. That's how we would typically do it, right, guys? But if we read this problem, it says 3 subtracted from a number. This says 3 minus a number. Is that the same thing? No. I want to take 3 away from a number. I want to take it from that number. So if I want to take it from that number, what has to come first? So that means that I have to flip this around, which means that it is one of my turnaround phrases, as we would call it. Which means if you ever see the phrase, what? Subtracted from, it means I need to flip the order around. So if you go back to that green page, phrases like subtracted from is one of my phrases that I need to turn the order around. Yes?
If you did divided by, would you have to flip it around?
No.
Okay.
Nope. Good question.
What about another one subtraction less than?
So let's keep going. So there's one more phrase. So if we go back to this page and we look at these problems, there's one more subtraction phrase. So what's the next subtraction phrase that you see on this page? 8, because what's my phrase? So less than is my phrase. If I read it like, or if I write it like I read it, what comes first? That 5. Less than means minus. And I'm going to subtract the cost of the ticket. Do we know the cost of the ticket? So the cost of the ticket is your variable. You can use whatever letter you want. It does not matter. So I am saying $5 less than the cost of the ticket. Well, this is saying $5 minus the cost of the ticket. Is that the same thing? No. So if I want it to say $5 less than the cost of the ticket, what do I need to do? So it should actually be C minus 5, or whatever your variable is, minus 5. Which means if you go back to the green page, less than is your other phrase. So if you see the phrases subtracted from and less than, you need to flip the order around. Morgan.
Do you always have to put them around with those phrases?
Yep. Always. Every single time, no matter what.
Are those the only 2 phrases?
Those are the only 2 phrases that matter to be flipped around. Like technically, more than, the opposite of less than, would also mean you'd have to flip them around. But in the end, is that going to make a difference?
No.
You're going to get the same answer. Does that make sense?
Like for subtraction, those are the
Yep, that's it. Those 2 phrases. Okay, so let's go back down to the bottom of the green page and finish this page off. What's my key word in number 2?
quotient.
What does quotient mean? Okay, now remember, a division problem is the same as multiplication. The order matters, but there is no turnaround phrases with division. It is just the order you read it is the order that you write it. So what should come first? A number. And what am I dividing it by? So it's n divided by -2. Or you could write it like a fraction. Either way is acceptable because it both means to divide. Make sense? Okay, everyone, try number 3 for me. What's my keyword, everyone? And what does twice mean? Multiplied by what? 2. Remember, twice means to multiply, but it's specifically by 2. And what am I multiplying by 2? So 2n, you could also write a dot in between there as a multiplication sign. I typically don't. I just write 2n. Questions so far, guys? Okay, let's go back to the orange page. And with the person sitting next to you, you guys can do through number 11. So go 5 to 11. Go. When you're done, check with Bennett and Vince behind you. Okay?
Y'all know what I'm doing.
Reagan, when you're done, check with the girls in front of you, okay? Addison and Lucille, you two are more than free to unmute yourself and talk to each other, okay?